People are saying this is the most amazing formation that's ever hit the deck, and I would kind of agree with them, really. It's the biggest, the most expansive, smashed all records for numbers of circles and geographical spread. Everything about it is like the absolute pinnacle, almost, of the whole, 20 years or so. When I first walked into this thing, so vast, I had absolutely no idea of what I was standing in, just a sea of circles covering a large proportion of the field. It took us half hour to find the centre. It gives one a fairly good impression of the scale of this thing, and that's after looking at hundreds of circles over the years, so we're pretty familiar with geometric shapes and patterns in a field and figuring them out. This one, I mean, I ask you, 409 circles. That's a tall order by anyone's standard. It was raining all night. The night this formation came down. This is a high-altitude location. This takes a battering by the weather. We were the first ones in here when this formation arrived. No footprints, no mud, no broken plants. All the centres were perfect. No sign of human activity or entry into this field at all. I've seen the result of a team of people or a gang of people smashing around in a cornfield all night. They make a hell of a mess. You just can't help it. It's a matter of fact. This was totally inconsistent with everything I know about human-made crop circles. You can't do that in a cornfield. This hit the deck perfectly first time round. No errors, no mistakes, no glitches. It's just here, and it arrived in a few hours in perfect condition.
Well, certainly in the early days, there was a strong feeling from those of us who were there that there was something around here. There was something of an invisible nature which was around, which was either making the circles or was associated with the circles. And from many of the reports, there were reports of balls of lights in the sky, certainly in those early days.
And you've heard about the balls of light, which everybody sees in the crop circle areas in England. Well, often they're seen when there's no crop circle in the field. They're simply in the fields of lights. And in most of those cases, after the light balls have been photographed or videotaped or whatever, a crop circle will occur in that location, sometimes a week later, or 3 weeks, a month, whatever.
Well, I have seen those balls of light not just at crop circle locations. And this made me think about what they are, because I know that what I have seen was not always related to crop circles. But then I have seen them again in relation to a crop circle.
I mean, don't forget that we've got phenomenal light activity in this area, in daylight as well as in the night. And they're not just seen in the summer, they're seen in the winter too, and they're seen by people who just live in the village, I've got nothing to do with crop circles, and, so we know there's something weird going on.
Avebury, Alton Barnes, that area, where they are seen really quite regularly, captured on film several times now. Particularly, those taken by Steve Alexander, for example, in 1990.
Yeah, we walked from that brow right across.
And we were just about to leave, you see. I was
and then
leaving.
We saw it, yeah.
I was picking up my gear, put on my shoulder, and I turned and I saw this object come into view. If it had been actually 5 seconds afterwards, we would have missed this, because we would have carried on up the hill. Now I actually turned round and saw it. Yeah. It came into view, it turned, then it went down into the corn, and it moved through the corn, scampering through that corn.
Moving between two formations, crop formations that are in the field, moving from this one to this one.
It knew what it was doing, it knew where it was going.
Intelligently controlled.
Dropping down into a tractor tire mark as if it's looking at the tractor tire mark. Nothing random about it. There's no movement in the prevailing wind, moving as you would in the direction of the wind if this was a balloon or something similar.
You see, the object came down and it stopped for a long time. So I thought I'd pan away to the rings to give
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
the distance from
Yeah,
actually where the
yeah.
object was and the rings were, pan back and give you an actual relation of the two distances. So through all this time it was glinting, flashing all the time. Then it took off, and then of course then it just carried on over the hill, moved up and away, over the actual tractor which the farmer was in at the time.
Where is that piece of paper?
It's a bird.
What? A shiny bird?
You know, I spoke to the tractor driver who was seen on this film that Steve took, and that ball went over the tractor driver's head by about 35, 40 feet. And what the tractor driver sees himself, as you can see on the film, he stops his tractor as he sees this go over the top. And so we have on film this ball of light. There's no question in my mind that whatever those balls of light are, they move in a purposeful manner.
If it's a random natural thing that's happening, then I think one in a 30, 50, 100 will be filmed. Somebody has a camera and has the copper on to film it. But that's not the case. It's half, even more than half of the sightings are filmed. Like Donald Fletcher walks at Barbary Castle, he does not even have his camera on the tripod. There the balls of light already.
What's that? I can't think what that is. Can you see it moving across?
No. What?
Where the camera's pointing?
That's a bit of dust in it. Fly.
The big question is, number one, do you think the balls of light are intelligent?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm convinced. I'm
And
convinced.
No.
He's
No,
not.
no.
you're not convinced?
No, there's no real proof for that. What I see is an intelligent behavior. I'm not so sure are the balls of light themselves intelligent, or is there something behind it?
Oh, I do
Yeah.
fully agree on that. But I do believe in the
So they could be
intelligence.
envoys or whatever you want to call it, devices or probes.
Yes.
or
Probes
something like
Could be.
But it could be that they're intelligent themselves.
that. Right, right.
Yes.
Are they energetic or are they a
think-
device?
I think they're energetic.
Okay.
I think, yeah, because if you look really good at the footages, and you should analyze them really carefully, is that everybody who sees them, the first thing they say is light. So they recognize it as a light, not as a mechanical thing, but as a light.
Do you have any stories of people seeing it more close up and having it interact with their thinking?
Charlie Mallett was down here visiting Mark. He was sitting in a circle at night, and this thing just showed up. It was 2 feet away from his head.
So you had a ball of light experience, right?
Several, actually. Yeah. Some very interesting paranormal experiences since getting involved in this situation. Part of my initial motivation for being here was to kind of, if this stuff is being done by something else for whatever reason, I would like to be there when it happens, you know? So on this particular occasion, I was in a formation close to here. Before I actually saw or physically experienced anything, probably about 3 to 5 minutes before this happened, the whole atmosphere in the formation changed, or at least in this particular part of it. The whole atmosphere around me within the formation became very highly charged, practically electric, to the degree where I was sitting there thinking, you know, this is really weird, you know, should I leave the formation? And a ball of light just appeared directly in front of me for some glowing sphere, kind of orange, yellow, translucent, not really casting much of a glow, and it didn't really do much. It just kind of appeared, hovered above the ground for something like a minute, quite a long time. I had enough time to kind of, you know, get up and move around a bit and have a look. And strangely enough, as this ball of light appears, the whole subjective, creepy, bizarre feelings all go, and I'm just in a normal, everyday situation, but there's this ball of light there. It's there for up to a minute, and the ball of light fades out. It sort of like fades to nothing over a few seconds, and I fell asleep immediately.
Have you guys actually seen your own balls of light in fields or in crop circles?
Mm-hmm.
You saw? So was it at night or during the day?
I only saw one really ball of light, and it was at night time. It was floating over a crop field. Slowly, took about 2 minutes to go from one side to the other side. This wasn't such an amber ball. It looked like a fireplace, an open fireplace. So it was getting bigger, smaller, bigger. And just floating slowly until it disappeared behind the shed. And I thought that's going to take 2 seconds and then we'll see it again. And I saw it again. It stopped while it was behind the shed. It's very strange.
How far away were you?
A couple of 100 meters.
Yeah.
It was pretty distant. I had to use my binoculars to really see it.
Yeah, I saw it. I was there as well. I saw it with the naked eye, but I missed the details that he saw because he had the binoculars.
Balls of light are certainly seen around the hills here. This is why we have Golden Ball Hill, because there's the memory of balls of light have always been